Hey everybody, it's Nate with Sauce Ain't the Boss here again, and today is day number 357 of quitting alcohol. You know, one of the things I was giving a lot of thought about today is how charisma and being charismatic can take you so many places in life. Sometimes we don't even have to be that well educated, but if we're charismatic, we're likable, people really think that we're something special because we're just easy to get along with, easy to like. You can really go places in life. I know a lot of people that used to work in the grocery business when I was in that got into high up positions really that had no place being there because they really weren't making very good business decisions, but it was kind of who they knew and how well liked they were, and they were charismatic people, and it allowed them to progress in their careers further than honestly they probably should have. And so it just goes to say how far charisma and being a likable person can take you. Now, that's not to say, you know, to be a pushover, a people pleaser, or fake or anything like that. Don't get me wrong. I'm just talking about that genuine charismatic personality that people want to be around you because you have a high energy level. You've always got conversation to talk about, and you know, and I've always found myself to kind of lack that a little bit, to be honest with you. More so when I was drinking, hands down. And you know, it's as I go along in this journey, I keep talking about all the things that I see or saw in myself that I needed to work on, and kind of being charismatic has been one of those things for me. When I was drinking, a lot of the times I was very reserved. I remember a lot of that had to do to the fact that I was hungover. I mean, when you're feeling like crap, you're trying to not show that to people. You're doing your best to, you know, get through the hangover, the nausea, the you know, drained feeling that you have, the lack of sleep. And so you go throughout your day putting off this vibe of just barely getting by, let alone trying to add charisma to your personality at that point. You know, forget that. That ain't gonna happen, right? And that was one side of it. The other side was when you lack confidence, you're kind of depressed. You know, alcohol is a downer. You're not happy with the direction your life is going on because you're making negative choices and decisions instead of positive ones because, you know, your life's just kind of spiraling downhill due to your heavy drinking. That's where I was at. And so, excuse me, I just found myself really lacking in the department of being a likable person, being a nice guy, having the charisma. And I still, to a degree, I've gotten a lot better since I quit drinking. Gosh, I've grown more in that area in the last year than I probably have in the last 20, but I still do lack a little bit of that in a crowded room maybe. And you know, you would think that, okay, alcohol helps to you know, give you some liquid courage in these types of situations where there's a bunch of people around and you have to socialize, a work party or a family gathering or whatever it is that you find yourself at. And it's quite the opposite. I found that the more I drank, the more I got reserved. The more I lacked conversation because my brain would stop working right. And I would just start not having anything to say because I didn't want to say anything stupid. I knew my wits were starting to go downhill, and so I tended to be more, you know, clammed up when I started drinking. So now I find myself in social situations adding more to the conversation. I can think clearer, so I can talk about more things. I find myself less emotional and quick to react. I'm becoming a nicer person in that regard. And so, you know, just another hidden benefit I haven't really touched bases on too much about quitting alcohol is you're probably going to become a nicer person, maybe more charismatic. And once you get over that initial hump of thinking somehow that alcohol has helped you all along, be social and take the edge off or whatever. The reality for me, I mean, maybe it's different for you, but for me, it was quite, like I say, the opposite. It wasn't helping me in any way, shape, or form. It was making me worse in the charisma department. And I just find myself at, just randomly throughout my day now, talking to strangers more, waving at neighbors. The other day, I guess this is what prompted this whole thing. I was driving my Bronco down the road, and this guy drove by, and I just waved at him. I thought, what the hell am I doing waving at this total stranger? That ain't like me. What's going on here? And I was in a happy mood, and I felt like waving at the guy. My hand just like almost automatically went up, and I thought, the guy waved back, of course, and I just remember thinking, God, that's not me. That's not like me. I'm glad that it is now. I'm glad that I'm seeing changes in that department, because I do really think it's important to be charismatic. It's like I say, it could be the difference between career advancement, whether or not you're going to, maybe find a significant other if you're out looking, or at least your significant other wants to stay with you because you're, charismatic too. And it's not the end all be all trait in the world. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I think it is important, and I see that more and more as life goes on, but it's important with family. It's important with business. It's something my wife has always been amazing at. And one of the reasons that her and I make such a great team in everything we do, whether it comes down to raising our kids, the business, going out places and doing things. One of the exciting things we got to do today was we closed on a loan at the title company with our lender and the title company, and it was my wife and I, and we were signing all the documents to close on this investment property. I mentioned it in a couple videos back that we made an offer on this place. It got accepted. Well, we finally closed on it today. Super exciting. I mean, that's been a huge passion of mine and my wife's, is building our real estate investment portfolio so that when we retire, we will, because I'm not real big into the stock market, and that's just not my jam. I really prefer real estate, and the nice thought of real estate is once you have a rental paid for, right, and you're renting it out to some people, that becomes income basically once that rental's paid off, that rent payment, and you get 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of these things. It becomes a pretty good retirement if you can get these things paid off by that time. So that's kind of been what we're working towards, and finding creative ways to finance another one, and making all these work. And so far so good, but I'm getting off tangent now. I'm passionate about real estate, so I like talking about it. But long story short, we were in there signing all this stuff, and my wife's very charismatic, and I was actually trying to bring some more of that to the table today, but everybody that meets my wife just loves her. I mean, I don't know anybody that doesn't. She's just got that charisma about her, and so it's been nice having at least that person in my life that has always been that other half of me. And she's a dreamer, she's creative, she's charismatic, she's all the things I lack and I'm not. And on the flip side, I've always been this, more structured one, the business side. I do all the marketing, the books, and just the analytical type of stuff. And together we make this like powerhouse team, right? And it's kind of cool that, these two opposites came together, and just, I don't think I could have ever found an equal. I mean, she's just amazing that way. And, but she's always been somebody that I looked up to as far as that department goes. And so I'm working on myself, and I think that it's neat to see these things as you quit drinking alcohol that you never intended on seeing or expected, that start to get better in your life. For you, it may be a whole nother list of things that you're lacking in. That's great. We all have those areas that the alcohol has been damaging in our lives and holding us back from. And the minute you put it down, you start to improve in those areas. And one thing I want to say in closing is that my wife and I were talking about this on our hike today, is how she was mentioning she was watching a YouTube video of a couple of gals that have a fitness channel and stuff, and they were talking about the average amount of time that somebody puts into like a workout regime and eating healthy is usually 6 weeks, and then they quit. And I was thinking about that. A lot of that's true with quitting alcohol or creating a new habit with a lot of things. You know, you put in several weeks, right? 6 weeks being about the normal before people throw in the towel. And what it is about that 6 weeks that I found kind of interesting is that's when you've gotten through probably the bulk of the hardest part. You know, if you're working out, you know, that's when you have gone through the most out of shape you're gonna be. That's when, you know, you've really kind of tried to change your ways. It's been difficult. It's been a struggle. You're feeling the hunger pains of cutting your calories for the first time. You're eating broccoli and shit that, you know, you don't like for the first time in a long time, maybe, or maybe ever. And you're just going, this sucks, right? And then, you look in the mirror after 6 weeks and you see nothing's changed, right? Because really 6 weeks of a diet, 6 weeks of eating healthy, you know, when you're out of shape and fat, and or 6 weeks of quitting alcohol, when you're pining after it the whole 6 weeks, your life hasn't improved. You thought quitting alcohol, right, was going to solve all your problems, and here you are 6 weeks in and nothing's better. And you go, it's not worth it, screw it. But what's so funny is, you know, we got to talking, and that's what this fitness channel was saying, is that if people had just hung in there a little bit longer and they had gone, you know, 8 weeks, they had gone, you know, 12 weeks, all of a sudden you start to see the results. It starts to get easier. And I remember with this quitting alcohol, and I kind of did the eating healthy and working out at the same time. I decided to quit. I started that a little later, maybe a month later, so I really got into it, but it was kind of there in the beginning. And at about, you know, 90 days, 3 months, I looked in the mirror and I saw a change, you know, and it wasn't huge, but it was enough to be noticeable. And it was enough to where after about 3 months, other people were noticing the changes too. And then all of a sudden, you get super motivated. You go, holy crap, what I'm doing is paying off. The cravings for the alcohol aren't as strong. I've lost, you know, 10 pounds. My clothes are fitting a little bit looser. I need to go a size down, going from an extra large to a large. I remember that graduation going, hell yeah, I'm not extra large anymore, you know, or I needed to buy a new belt, you know, and so you start to feel good about yourself, and then it starts to just really build momentum and you get excited and passionate about it. But, you know, if you just give it those 6 weeks of hell and you don't push through past that and you say it's not worth it, you're going to regret it, because you were just that close to going a few more weeks and seeing some positive changes. It's like a curve, you know, when you start this stuff, you're kind of going like this, right? And then you get into it and it starts to do this, and then you know, people stop right before it starts to go up, and then all of a sudden it does this type of deal where it's just boom, you know, it takes off, and you're sitting there going, you know, damn, this is amazing. And so I guess my point of saying all that is that you know, guys, it's sticking with it. It's consistency. It's getting through the hurdles. It's grinding those 6 weeks, those first couple of months, and you'll watch your life, though. Give it time. And I wish somebody would have told me this. I'm telling you guys this because this is, you know, why I wanted to film this channel, is to show you guys and talk to you guys about what happens. And that was the same for me. I struggled and struggled and struggled, and then all of a sudden you start to get a glimmer of hope. You start seeing the improvements, and then it just takes off like a bat out of hell, and you're going, whoa, where did this come from? And then you get fired up and you want to keep moving forward because you know, you just see it, all this great crap start to happen in your life, and all the bad stuff's going away, and there's no turning back. You know, you just go, man, this is amazing. So I hope you guys got something out of this one. If you guys are enjoying these videos, give them a like, subscribe to the channel if you can, and most importantly, remember, Sauce ain't the boss, you are. You guys have a great day.